Okay, we'll call the June 13th, 2007 Board of Selectmen meeting to order at 7:33. Thank you, everybody. First thing we always have to remind people of for this meetings downstairs in this room are the emergency exits. Most of you entered through the door to your left, my right, with the exit sign over it, which you exit out into the rear parking lot of the town hall. If for some reason that were blocked, the other exit would be straight down the back corridor, which will bring you out to the Orange Center Road Firehouse. And the third exit would be straight up the stairs behind the wall with the clock on it, which would lead you out to Orange Center Road. Those are your three emergency exits out of here, please. Can I have my Board of Selectmen introduce themselves? We'll start with Selectman Goldblatt this month.
Mitch Goldblatt. Ralph Oakenquist.
Ann Petty, Secretary.
Vince Moreno, Town Attorney.
Good evening, Joe Blake.
Anthony Nastri.
Roy Cuzzacrio.
Thank you. And with that passed now, we please rise for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, at this time then we will enter into public participation. We have moved our committee reports, I think all of you have noticed, for the last couple months back a little bit so that people who come just with a particular issue can do it now during public participation. Public participation is for any item that is not on the regular agenda of the Board of Selectmen. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to state anything from that is not? Anybody on my board? If not, I have our usual monthly. First, I'd like to take a moment of silence for Ben Williams, who provided service to the town both as a member of committee and as our insurance representative, and for many, many years, who passed away on May 18th. Ben was very well known around town services for a long, long time, and take a moment of silence for Ben Williams. Thank you. Since we met last, the budget referendum passed. The mill rate has been set at 29.9 mils. Tomorrow night is the Flag Day ceremony on the town green, weather permitting, at 6 p.m. If it is stormy or thunder or lightning, anything along that line, it will be held in Mary L. Tracy Gymnasium, just so you all know. Pat O'Sullivan requested our approval for him to proceed for the document grant, and we received a $7,000 grant for preservation of more records. You'll recall Patrick was here with some old maps of the town that he wants to use that for. This has become a yearly thing that we've received some good money to update some of our old paperwork that needs to be done. The town raised $630 in the Heart Walk Challenge. Myself and the Chiefs and Mike Kosh and Max, our dog, walked out at Lighthouse Park. That was for the Mayor's Challenge, which was part of the Heart Association Walk. And yes, I made all the laps all the way around, and I'm proud to say I'm here to talk about it. I'd like to see if we can get more participation in that next year, both from townspeople and from people within the town. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of people there, that's for sure, thousands of people. Young lady who lives here in town who's setting the world on fire with her pitching abilities for Amity softball, Lauren Besputa. She was named the Gatorade Athlete of the Year, which is truly quite an honor in the country. I mean, she's really a heck of a ball player, and she's the most outstanding pitcher they've had in a long time, and She was named the Gatorade Athlete of the Year. That's congratulations to Lauren Vesputa. And right on the heels of that, our Amity boys baseball are the champions of their division, and that's great excitement and thrilling news. We really have an outstanding group of young men there who are really able to put it all together this year again, and great work, guys, and we're all very proud of you at Amity. Graduation is on the 20th for Amity, up at the high school on the field. That's a big excitement every year. It's nice to see that go. Some of the kids I drove to school when they were very little are walking past, and it's quite exciting to watch them. Mr. Z, Mr. Z. So it's nice. We have concerts coming up before we meet again. June 6th, all concerts on the town fairgrounds at the gazebo concerts start at 7 p.m. There is a concert on June 16th by a group called Lunchbox. On June 23rd by Flashback. On July 3rd, which is, I believe, a Tuesday, I think the 4th falls on Wednesday, July 3rd is the concert with Parrot Beach, which is a Jimmy Buffett type of band. Is the day before the 4th of July. It's a Tuesday, not a Saturday. And fireworks, and they still are collecting for fireworks. July 7th is Glenn Roth, quite a guitarist, grew up over on Saddle Ridge Road. Drove him to school when he was a little young man. July 14th is Shine with Rose Coppola. Also drove Rose Coppola to school when she was a kid. And then on July 21st is Tom Martucci, which is the Frank Sinatra style, and that is our summer concerts.
Frank Sinatra.
No. Oh yeah, and this week, the June 16th one is the Strawberry Festival, and that probably, I don't have a time, that starts at 5:30? Okay, so the Strawberry Festival is prior to the concert this Saturday at the fairgrounds under the pavilion, and that starts at 5:30. I think the Strawberry Festival is handled by the Land Trust, I believe. And then, well, we have our economic update, and I'm glad to see Mr. Grimmer is still here and walking. We had the Business Expo today that he and his staff and Band of Merriment put together, the Business Expo, which started with a breakfast for those of us who just had to walk in and not set anything up at 7:30. I think Mr. Grimmer and staff were there prior to that, and then we had a tour of the commercial areas with a bus full of commercial realtors looking and writing very intently, and we stopped and met with some leasing agents at different sites and all, and that was very interesting. And then that went into the expo itself, which was held at the cinemas up on Marsh Hill Road. Our thanks to the staff at the cinemas for putting up with us today. It was very well attended. I think next year, if the attendance keeps growing, Mr. Grimmer, the booths are probably going to have to, the aisles are going to have to expand because there were so many people, it was sometimes difficult to travel. Great diversity, foods, services, insurances, home improvements, health care, the chambers were there. It was just a great show this year, Mr. Grimmer. Commend you for it. Also on that, if you read my column, you'll know that LL Bean leased 13,000 square feet. We met with Linda Lacey from Erstadt Biddle, was one of our people this morning, and they've started to fit out that space in the, that's in the shopping center where Trader Joe's and Talbot's is. LL Bean will become the anchor there at 13,000 square feet. That's very exciting. And the porch and patio building, which has sat vacant for quite a while due to a bankruptcy, sold last week for over $1.4 million. So that will bring that building back into a new vitality, we hope, and get that site popping along. But probably my most exciting thing today was at 4 o'clock. I attended the signing of the agreement between Bayer Pharmaceuticals and Yale University. It was signed today after long process. Once Bear had announced that they were leaving our area and going to New Jersey, and the reuse committee has met many times. We've had a lot of meetings, and Mayor Picard and I have met individually and together with potential people, and we were both very fearful that this site might end up as a shopping mecca destination, which was not what either one of us were hoping for. And lo and behold, Bruce Alexander, who was on the search committee with us, who's the vice president of Yale University, started thinking about it, and he met with his board and staff. And the culmination of that was today when Yale University signed an agreement with Bear. And now part of Yale is it going to be in Orange, Connecticut, and part of it in West Haven. It was very exciting, and it's good news for us. And this will be used for science and research there. And we're just all very excited. Some people are worried about taxes. The state pays a pilot, which is payment in lieu of taxes, which is not quite 3/4 of what they pay in taxes. And Bear has ponied up at this point $600,000, which will go to the communities to offset that difference. And over the next 4 years, they also, Yale has, I should say, Yale has. And Yale has also announced today that they, over the next 4 years, will be putting $1 million into outreach to work with our schools from K through 12 in West Haven, Orange, New Haven, as they already do. And so that will be going towards our elementary program and all the way up through the Amity program. I was sitting next to President Levin today at the event, and we were talking about it, and it's very good news. So I'm glad that the Director of Curriculum for the elementary schools is sitting in the audience tonight. Mr. Martino, that's news to you. And it's great news. So the Bear site has been sold, and they will close in about 90 days, and we have Yale as one of our people.
That deserves a round of applause.
So that's what I have for announcements tonight, and then we shall move on. Okay. Let's see. Next thing is minutes. The first minutes we have to go over are the May 9th minutes, which were our regular meeting. Was there any errors, corrections, anything in these?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, well, let's get a, for discussion purposes, can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, Okenquist, Nastri. Now for discussion, Selectman Nastri.
On page 2,
Microphone.
under new business, the last sentence should read, "The motion passed unanimously." The words in between are unnecessary because it was already covered in the first sentence.
Oh, I see, yeah. The motion was made by Selectman Goldblatt, seconded by Nastri, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mitchell.
On page 3, under number 6, bids for containerized refuse for town buildings, it says that the item was tabled, but doesn't say a motion was made or seconded. I think I made the motion. We can go to the videotape to find out, I guess, but somebody made a motion and seconded that before it was voted on. And there's no
I
mention of
thought
that.
it was tabled, no action was taken. Mr. Lieberman.
Oh, was that what we did?
Mr. Lieberman was going to come back to us with that, and he's here tonight, actually, about that.
All right, well then tabled is probably the wrong word there then. Maybe just the selectmen took no action,
Yeah, okay.
Okay, to clarify that.
Yeah, but thank you. Anything else? If not, all those in favor with those changes?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, yeah. One abstention. Selectman Cosacrio. Next meeting minutes were for the special meeting on Wednesday, May 30th. This was had to do with the town insurance. Any errors, omissions, corrections to that?
Move to be approved.
Selectman Nastri and Selectman Cosacrio. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Two abstentions. Selectman Blake and Selectman Goldblatt were unable to attend that meeting. Okay, old business. We have first item under old business is to consider an act on request by the Rotary Club to place a trailer behind the community center. Jack Barton is here to represent the Rotary Club tonight. Before we get into discussion, you can come up while you're coming up, Mr. Barton. This is an interesting concept. The Rotary Club stores a lot of equipment for handicapped and in need and this type of use, and it is a good use, it's an excellent use, and I guess a lot of this stuff has been stored at Mr. Barton's house, and he needs a little more space now, and they're requesting a storage container down there at High Plains. I think we can fit that in alongside the what would be the east side of the little white garage down there. I think it could be dropped in there right alongside that building, Mr. Lieberman, should fit. And I am in favor of this. I think it's something that they need, and it does a lot of good for the community. The only thing that I think you might want to put into a motion with it is a time, like a controlling factor in case for some reason it has to be removed, or you know, if it's in the way or something, like within 30 days notice, the selectmen can ask that it be shifted or something if there were a reason for it. I mean, you can't just leave it there in perpetuity. I mean, it will be there unless we notify them that you know, there's a reason why it would have to be moved. So now I introduce Mr. Barton, who can go on beyond that.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's nice to be here. Let me talk to you a little bit about that storage trailer and what we plan on doing with it. Actually, one thing we'd like to do is store our auction, not our auction, our Lobster Fest equipment down there. We have a lot of big tanks and cooking stuff, and it would be nice to have it down there at High Plains where we do have the Lobster Fest, so it'd be convenient for us to get at it. Right now it's, I believe, stored in several places, the main place being John Van Armen's garage, and we certainly would like to get it out of there into a real secure place. However, let me talk to you a little bit about the medical equipment thing. About 4 or 5 years ago, Rotary started to collect used medical equipment to distribute to the community. And it was amazing how much equipment that we gathered. And we had a place to store it. We stored it in one central place. However, we've lost that storage facility, and right now it's divided into, right now, 2 places. Part of it is in my basement, and part of it is in Skip Clark's basement. And so we would like to use this also to store that equipment so it's easily accessible. A week doesn't go by that we don't get a referral from the Visiting Nurses Association here in Orange. As a matter of fact, I got one this morning from a resident of Orange who does not need medical equipment, but she's got some medical equipment that she wants to donate to us. And what they do is they call the Visiting Nurses Association. They don't handle it, so they refer it to Rotary. So we would certainly like to have that facility down there to store the medical equipment so that we can easily get at it and distribute it to people throughout the town. I did take, I think in your packet, a picture of the trailer that's down there right now. I think that's a fair trailer, the Fair Committee trailer. And also a picture of the proposed trailer that we would like to put down there. So we would certainly like your favorable approval of that. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to ask. Joe.
Jack, I really don't have a problem with your request. In fact, I'm going to vote in favor of it after a motion's made. But I just want to bring to the attention that, excuse me, there's already one trailer there now. Now there'll be 2. I just looked down the road a third organization doesn't come in, they want to put one in, a fourth one, and it makes it very difficult for me as an individual to vote for or against. Why do I say yes to one and no to another? So therefore, what I'm saying to the board, more than to you, Jack, is I think we have to come up with some kind of a regulation determining what's available down there as far as requests go. I'm not quite sure. I don't have any regulations in mind, but there must be something that we can formulate as a policy, so when an organization comes to us that doesn't fit whatever that regulation might be, we have some grounds to at least deny that request. And so that's what I present to the board more than you, Jack, and I compliment the Rotary for what they do. I know my mother being handicapped at the time, the need for equipment is useful and greatly appreciated.
Right. And I appreciate that point of view, too. I know there's other service organizations in Orange. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other service organization that would want a trailer put down there. But I also agree with Selectman Zioli that this resolution should be worded so that we could take the trailer out of there if it's so needed.
Yeah, I think Vincent can work on that part of it. It'll be at the discretion. Each case is judged on its own at the discretion of this table right here. But I think we can come up with some guidelines as to, and then run them by everybody, obviously, you know, as far as who fits the bill. Yeah.
You might even want to make it an annual request. I don't know.
There's a possibility.
You know, that every year it has to be approved.
Ask for a renewal. Yeah. Selectman Goldblatt.
I share Joe's concerns, but I had thought about this and have a couple of suggestions. First of all, Jack, the Rotary Club of Orange is a 501c3.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's one stipulation. If you put it that they have to be a 501c3 organization, you know, could obviously limit any group, you know, just from coming forward and saying something. Second thing that I think tips the scale with this, quite frankly, is the fact that they are providing a service for a town organization, the VNA. And so,
and town residents.
And town residents. In fact, I'm also curious, this may be a side conversation, I'm also curious as to why some of this can't be stored in the back of the VNA building where there seems to be still storage area left.
Well, I can't answer that question other than the fact that I think maybe Vin can answer this question, but for liability reasons, the VNA doesn't want anything to do with used medical equipment.
Yeah.
But you're still working through them to
well, the people call VNA. That's where they call, and what they do is refer them to Rotary.
Okay.
Very good.
You see.
That's for context.
I think it's still, you know, going. We have a letter here, I think, from Tom Kraus tonight,
yes,
which supporting this from the Visiting Nurse Association, which I think should be weighed heavily into this. And then I think, Jack, not necessarily that you have to come back here every year, but I think when we put something together that maybe kind of like we do with the Stone Otis and the other houses in town, and make like a 10-year arrangement that in 10 years they got to, you know, come back. Because in that time, just make sure that the trailer is not in disarray. We had that problem once with another trailer on town property. So, but with that, I'm supportive of this, and I think it serves a purpose.
I think 10 years is a long time too, but I can rest assured that the trailer will be well maintained.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion on this, please?
So made.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Do we have a second on it? Any more discussion?
Well, Jim, is that motion going to have any kind of review period, or
we're going to
just go?
We're going to approve that. We are going to approve this for the Rotary Club because they need to act on this, and they will agree with our terms because you know our terms are not going to be.
So our motion then is to agree, but then for Vincent to come up and draw up a guidelines.
Yeah, Vincent is going to do that, and that will be presented to you next month for you to think about. Tonight we're approving Rotary Club, and they're going to agree to our terms.
Okay.
I can speak for Mr. Barton on that.
We will agree.
It won't be a problem. Huh? This way, he wants the trailer there. He's agreeing. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
As a member of Rotary, do I have to request?
No, because you're not using the goods yet.
No, not yet. But we have them, Tony, if you need them.
Wait till the trailer gets out there.
All right. Thank you very much. Very much.
Very good, Jack. To consider and act on bids for containerized refuse for town buildings. This is, Mr. Lieberman is coming up. This is the one that we had a little discussion on last month, and I will ask you to direct your comments to Mr. Lieberman. I know we did have some concerns with this particular bid. Mr. Lieberman, give a rundown first.
Okay, I think everybody kind of objected to the large increase, but I mentioned at the time that I had sent a memo saying that the bid that was accepted was too low and they would lose money, which they have. I dug up the old memorandum and the prices that were offered. If you'll notice, everybody else bid in the general area of what they're bidding now, what Latella is bidding, so that they're asking for the price that the other companies were asking for 4 years ago. So their price is fair.
Any questions?
I think that answers the question we had.
It was the question last month, that I will say. Selectman Goldblatt, any questions? I know this was of great concern to you.
Yes, it was. I think it's given us some history we didn't have last time. I appreciate it. I honestly wish that this whole issue had been rebid in the month that we had gone through, because we're still dealing with a single quotation. And regardless of what we had 4 years ago, we really still don't have any kind of indication of what it should be today, except for one bid that came in. So I'm disappointed we don't have further information about today's prices. 4 years ago's prices are interesting, but I'm still concerned about it.
Right.
Jim, just to echo, and obviously I missed last month's meeting, but
Yep.
It's a little bit of a concern in that we seem to be not getting a lot of competitive bids back on some of these. I realize, being on the other side of the table, sometimes sometimes it's difficult to bid to a municipality. But it does concern me, because not that it's a pattern, but it looks like it's heading in that way, that we're not always getting more than one or two bids.
This seems to be, I asked about this to some of the other town leaders after a COG meeting last month, after this had happened. And it seems to be coming, as you already said, a trend. And it seems like an odd trend, but, well, for example, we're a little bit hung up right now. They bid the bulky trash. We got two bids, and they're about $60,000 apart, more than we have for either one of them at the moment, so we're trying to work some things out. But we only got two bids for the bulky trash, which is something that, when Mitch did that years ago, I think we had 7 bids, 7 or, so we're not getting a lot of bids on a lot of things. And this, I think Mr. McGinnis is in the room, Mrs. Mangini is in the room, Mr. Chiarenzelli is in the room, and yourself being on the school building committee, we're facing that with something here later tonight. The municipalities, some of these businesses, or a lot of these businesses, aren't bidding on municipal work. I don't know, if it's, they feel that, well, you got to tie money up and wait or something, or if they feel that it's just not worthwhile. I don't know what it is, but it's becoming commonplace, not just in Orange. But that's, you witnessed it, like I said, with the school bidding now, and your numbers were way off there on what you thought you were going to be able to do. Exactly. So.
Roy, this was in their contract that they had the right to request an extension. And that's what this was, a year at a time. And we did not go out to bid for that reason.
So this was not okay. Then that's something I missed from last month. I apologize.
That's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but Ed, that just begs the question. I mean, just because someone has a right to an extension, typically, when there's an extension, one of two things happens. Either they hold the price for the following year, so you know what the price is and you can get through it, or it has a reasonable requested increase of 2 or 3%. This is astronomically higher than what we have now. I understand what you're saying about the bids 4 years ago. But, you know, with those kind of numbers, we should have gone out and rebid this.
Mitch, we would have gotten the same results. They can't make money except at the price they're quoting. And
But I would feel a lot more comfortable if I had 3 or 4 bidders saying it's going to cost me that much per container, rather than going to the guy who's been doing it for us for the last 4 years, saying you have an option on your contract to extend, and they go and extend, and they increase. We don't have the numbers here tonight, which we had last time, but it was like for certain parts of this bid, not all of it, for certain parts of this bid, I think it was about 3 times the price we're paying now.
But they're exactly.
For certain containers, I think it was.
At the schools.
They're lower than some of the bids 4 years ago.
We went out to bid 4 years ago.
No. They're lower. They're lower than
4 years ago.
And costs have gone up.
That's right.
So,
And I can provide the same thing.
they're bound to be higher.
If they were lower than what they bid, they would not make money, and nobody's going to do it and not make money.
Ed, your letter here, April 20th,
Yeah.
said that requests for bids were advertised in the newspaper, on the internet, and mailed to several firms. Only one response was received.
I did go out to bid then. That's April 20th this year?
April 20th, 2007.
Then I did go out to bid. I'm
I
sorry.
thought you said you had gone. and only one
Okay,
came.
I thought this was an extension. I forgot.
I think one of the problems may be, and this may be in other towns too, is we have, at least the 6 years I've been on the board here, we have historically gone to a local company if the bids were very close, or if the local company agreed to meet the low price. That may scare some of the other bidders away. I don't know whether other towns are doing the same thing or not, but it seems to be a trend, as Jim said, and I think, Roy, you mentioned. But the problem is, if we're not going to get any bids, if we're only going to get one bid, we're going to be in trouble soon.
Like I said, the bulky trash, we got 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's surprising, because there's so many companies out there that can do that. I don't know, Jim, whether you've talked to Milford, because Milford does the bulky trash every year, or a couple times a year.
Well, they have their own public works.
They have their own public works.
Yeah.
That's right.
They create a lot of problems because it's very hard to measure the bulky trash situation. You may have heard on the news today that Bridgeport's having a problem with their bulky waste pickup, where they tried to split it up throughout the town, and people now are putting out their bulky waste after the date that it was collected. And they showed pictures of bulky waste all over the streets.
And
the
just so
place.
you know, that particular vendor was was one of the 2 bidders that we received a week or so ago.
So I don't think that
was the high bidder, but-
bidders have an easy time bidding on something like this, because there's no measurement of what they're going to collect, and there's no proof of what the tonnage was.
That's right.
So, you know, if I were in the business, and I got burned as our first bidder did, when the first time we did the bulky waste pickup, I believe the number was $20,000, and I think that it cost the contractor more than that at the time.
Probably.
Yeah. So it's something that's difficult to bid on, because it's not
It
a
is.
finite thing. You're not bidding on X number of gallons of fuel oil or something. You're bidding on something that people may put out or may not put out.
That's
So,
right.
and then there's a question of measurement, and who's going to stand there and measure it?
We bid that twice, 2 different ways, and neither way came in affordable.
So I think this price is a price that's 4 years old that he's meeting. So prices have certainly gone up in 4 years. So I don't think that this is, I think if you go out for a bid, you're likely to get to a current price, which
Well,
may
you
be
did
higher.
go out to bid.
Yeah,
You did.
well,
Sorry,
these people are not going to come in with a bid that's lower than what they bid 4 years ago.
No,
They bid
probably not.
again.
So,
I just was, going to chime back in that if these numbers are what they are, and we've sent it out to bid, but Ralph's concern crossed my mind as well, that maybe we need to look at a little more carefully at what we're
If you
doing.
If you remember, when we went out to bid for the brush removal, we got 6 to 8 bids, I forget how many, from all over the state. It's just
I like to buy gasoline for what I paid 4 years ago.
I would too. Yeah, but their price was unreasonable.
By comparison.
Their price was unreasonable to begin with.
Beating the prices where you got your bids.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years ago. They're all here.
What's your pleasure on this, gentlemen?
I second his approval.
Okay, motion by Nastri, second by Blake. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. On or off the bus?
He wants his trash picked up.
Okay, all right. One abstention.
Thank you.
Selectman Goldblatt.
What's your trash, Mitch?
Okay, this next one is something that we have to send to Attorney Marino. He was unable to be with us last month, and we did talk about it a little bit, but he wasn't here for the discussion, and I think that that's important. This was submitted, Vin, originally by Mr. Klotz, who's in the audience here tonight. And this is establishment of a new ordinance for the abatement of taxes for highly fuel-efficient vehicles. I don't know the names of all of them, only but one. I know the Prius is the one that I see on TV and all. It's those hybrid vehicles. There seem to be more of them coming out in the marketplace now, and it was felt by the board, and I hope they re-emphasize their thoughts, that this could be something very appropriate for the town to do. And in talking to Representative Davis at our office hours the other night, he thought it was a tremendous idea and possibly a bill that could be worthwhile in the legislature next year for communities that do put in an ordinance like this, that the state might be willing to offset the funds that the town foregoes, that the people don't have to pay for buying these efficient vehicles. So he was very interested in learning more about it also. But irregardless of that, whether that happens in Hartford or not, they're having trouble enough as it is just to get a budget up there. This is something, and I think the Board of Selectmen here would like to have a few anybody's comments to Vincent on this, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just noticed that in Mr. Klotz's letter, he mentions 40 miles per gallon of fuel in city driving. The handout we have referring to section 115 says that the purposes of this subdivision, hybrid cars means passenger cars that whose city or highway gasoline mileage rating of at least 40 miles per gallon. I think that there's a crossover point. In looking at the literature, I've seen where certain cars get higher mileage in the city than they do in the highway, and vice versa.
Hybrids typically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hybrids typically. Yeah, so we'd have to take a look at that. And the other issue was it would be nice to have a list of what hybrids meet these specs. Is it just one or two or? See, and then the other was a definition.
Mr. Klotz.
That the hybrid had to be a car that draws acceleration energy from two onboard sources, a fuel energy, like gasoline or diesel fuel, plus another source, electrical. And I'm wondering if that limits you to a person that may use an electric car, for example, that uses only for short distance commuting. Yeah, just electric. So they would be excluded. So that's according to this they would, says that.
Mr. Klotz, your thoughts?
Okay, Mr. Nastri, in my proposal, it was 40 miles per gallon of fuel in city driving, so it had nothing to do with the highway driving.
No, I'm referring to this document.
I apologize to you, you are right, because I'm assuming it's a liquid fuel, and you're talking about an electric vehicle. I am excluding the electric vehicle at this point. I am not at all considering it. I think it's a great concept, as it has been for many years, but I don't see it really going into production, something that needs to be considered now.
That's true. Attorney Vinton Marino.
After I got Mr. Klotz's letter, and knowing I was not going to be at last month's meeting, what I did was I had one of my associates pull out the act that was pending up in Hartford. I was in court all day today, so I was not able to confirm whether or not the act passed, but your ability to do this would be dependent upon Hartford giving you the right to do it. You couldn't just do it on your own. So I think in the first instance I need to confirm whether or not this act passed. But Tony, to answer your question, if you look at Section 24 of the proposed act, assuming it was adopted as proposed, it provides for those hybrid passenger vehicles as defined by 12-412, which was what you were referring to, or a motor vehicle which is exclusively powered by a clean alternative fuel, which would likely be electric. So I think it would be covered, but what I would suggest...
Yeah, I think, Vinny, they may be referring to biodiesel.
Okay. I think what I would suggest is, if the matter is tabled to July, assuming that the act in Hartford was passed, I could draft a proposed ordinance. You could debate it in July and send it out for public hearing in August.
We can't, excuse me, we can't, if Hartford doesn't allow us to do an abatement's not the right word, but some sort of an adjustment, I guess, for these vehicles, we can't do it?
Your powers are derived by statutes, and the statutes are what Hartford puts out. So
an ordinance just locally
No.
isn't allowable?
No, not from a taxation standpoint. Your power to tax is given to you by Hartford. So we have to, we're guided by the statutes. There is an act that was pending, I'm just not sure what the status was, but for whatever it's worth, the effective date is July 1 of '07, so it was proposed to go into effect. I can check on the status tomorrow.
Well, it pays to wait anyway if Hartford would be willing to contribute some funds to encourage municipalities to pass such ordinances.
Right.
So if Paul Davis follows up on that,
Sure.
that would help us.
Motion to table based on
Okay.
Vin's discussion.
I am going to give, in all fairness to Mr. Klotz, I am giving him my copy. Oh, you have one? Oh. Finance Director Pam Mangini is going to give you her extra copy. There you go. Okay,
So
sorry to
tabling
get you out tonight for
That's
that.
okay, thank you.
I apologize. A table I don't think has to be. I think a table is... Okay, second, okay. Selectman Okenquist, okay. Yep, yep.
Wants to vote?
Yes, you are going to vote. I'm just, it's not debatable. You're all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. She said anything else, wasn't allowed. Okay, under new business. I see these two ladies down there. To consider an act on approval for the second annual Ridgeview Road Block Party. And it looks like Mrs. Nusdio and Schultz are down in the back here. You have a letter in front of you from the office of, and you have their map. Have you seen the police chief about this?
Once I get this approval, I'll go to the police and to the highway department for barricades.
Okay, all right. Why don't you come up for a minute, just in case anybody has any questions. Mitchell would like you to repeat that into the microphone.
Once we have permission from this group tonight, we will go to the police for their permission and then the highway department to request the barricades to block the roads in the exact location we blocked them last year.
Okay, it looks like the party is at the Schultz's house.
It congregates on the corner of Ridgeview and Hazelnut. It does leak into their yard somewhat, but pretty much on the road there.
That doesn't surprise me. Okay, can we have a motion pending approval from the police department and agreement from highway to drop
Second.
off? Okay, thank you. You are all set?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous, thank you. Item number 2, consider an act on request from the Orange Congregational Church to put up barricades to block traffic from June 25th to June 29th. This one I'm sure will have approval from the police department, being that it's from the police chief's wife. That shouldn't be a problem. This is a yearly one. Is there any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Selectman Goldblatt and Okenquist, all in favor? Aye. Aye, thank you very much. Bob Gagney, better approve that one or he'll be in hot water. Item number 3, another passenger from my days of driving. To consider an act on approving Howard Dragonoff's Action Enterprises of Woodbridge as the sole vendor at the July 3rd fireworks display. Hello, Mr. Dragonoff.
Hi,
How are
Mr.
you
Zilli.
tonight?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I sell all different types of lighted novelties like glow necklaces and all different lighted toys, and also balloons and some other trinkets for the kids at the July 3rd fireworks show.
You all know that, right, Poppy, as they come over there? Very good.
Yep.
Discussion, Mitchell.
Yeah, Howard, in the past, you've indicated certain things that you would not sell.
Right.
I'm not sure whether the fake lit cigarettes was part of that or not, but I would like to make that request.
Yeah, we don't sell those. We've never sold those.
Thank you.
Fake lit cigarettes, silly string,
Right, silly
invisible
string.
ink because of those little bottles.
Right.
You just do mostly the glittery.
Right,
and
mostly
all
the
that
lighted
stuff.
novelties.
Yeah.
Motion made to accept.
Selectman Blake, is there a second? Second. Selectman Goldblatt, any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? That was close. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we also have here, I haven't talked to Michelle recently, but I know they were looking for donations towards the fireworks for the 3rd of July concert, and I believe they're still open for donations. If there's anybody out there who would like to make a contribution towards the fireworks for the 3rd of July, I think if you dropped off a check at the first selectman's office, and I would say make it out to Around the Town's magazine, market fireworks.
Light the Night is the term.
Is it Light the Night?
Light the Night.
Okay,
Around the Town's magazine.
Light the Night.
Light the Night.
Okay, that would be very nice. I know there are some people who have sponsored at that, and she's always looking for more sponsors. Okay, item number 4 is to consider an act on the appointment of audit firm for 2007, which is actually for year 06-07. Our town fiscal year ends at June 30th, and we have joining us tonight our finance director, Pam Mangini. I think this might be her first meeting with us as finance director, and town treasurer, Al Charanzelli.
Good evening.
I haven't seen either one of them hardly today. I was out of the building most of it. You have a letter before you here in regards to the extension of the contract with Seward and Monday. This is the last year. That's the second renewal, I guess, of the audit. You have a memo on cover that came to me from the treasurer, and I think the one that went to the state, and a written letter from Ms. Harbour, who was our previous finance director, behind that. I turn it over to you two at the moment.
Okay. Mr. Charanzelli. What we're looking to do, again, is to keep Seward and Monday on for one more year. Again, I come to you this year with standing with yet another finance director. So we are now on our 4th finance director and our 3rd treasurer. However, I really believe we need this audit firm for this continuity for this particular year. We will most assuredly go out for RFP in December of 2006. We have many unresolved issues yet from the previous couple of years of activity within the town, and that are 90% resolved right now. I really need to get that remaining piece of that together. Also, this has been an indoctrinating year for Mrs. Mangini, who has done, in fact, a stellar job in stepping up to the plate and taking over some of the finance director operations here that have been missing for a few years. So we're really making strides. We're moving in the right direction. We have picked up about $1,400,000 in old accounts receivable that had been laying out there without much activity on it for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. And that's been a major undertaking, and the auditor was instrumental in helping us resolve most of that. Again, a lot of that was sewer billing, police department special duty billing, alarm violation billing, and any other ancillary billings that came out from the town. So that was a thing that's taken the preponderance of our activity, mine in particular, during this year. And it's just that I really believe that we need this one more year. And when I say one more, I mean one more. I swear we will go out next year.
Discussion, questions? Oh, what, do you want to speak first, or wait for?
I'll wait for questions.
Very good. This is kind of like the, have a motion, Selectman Blake?
I had talked to Al earlier, and he explained the same thing too, because I was not at the last meeting, and a very good explanation and acceptable
So
explanation why we should.
that's your
change.
motion?
So my motion is to pass, yes.
Selectman Blake, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have Nastri and Oakenquist and whichever name you choose.
I also talked to Al
Okay.
and the Board of Finance, and I get full agreement.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Thank you,
There you
gentlemen.
go.
Very much.
Very good, thank you for hanging around today. I don't think either one of you went home in between this.
We live here.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah, not today, I've started to forget what the place looked like. Item number 5, to consider and act on the bids for day camp bus transportation. Don McGinnis, I know, is in the room. Yep, here he comes. Okay.
Good evening,
I know
everyone.
I saw, here it is. And there's their, on the back of everything is their ad for they went out to bid, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. McGinnis, do you have anything light to shed on this item number 5, day
Well-
camp bus transportation?
Kind of falls in line with what Selectman Kazakria was talking about earlier. We did just get the one for each component of our transportation. Not terribly unexpected in that one of the things that we look for our bus transportation in particular is someone that knows the roads in Orange. We feel that's very important. So certainly Winkle Bus Company that has been doing it for so long did provide us an excellent bid based on what we've paid in the past, and they were the only bidder for the main bus transportation. The other one was the subcontractor for the same van provider that we've had in the past as well. This year they call themselves Choice Auto, and those are for the 15-passenger vans that we use for our summer traveling teens program. The numbers are in front of you, and they are very well in line with what we anticipated paying. But unfortunately, those were the only bids. So.
Hey, Don, now I know with the regular buses, drivers are provided with them, and I never asked this before. The 3-passenger vans for the traveling teen program here that you advertise in this bid, are those with daily drivers?
No,
or?
our staff drives them, and they receive the special van permits through the Department of Motor Vehicles that we require of these young adults that run the Traveling
Okay.
Teens program.
Just, you're already aware of it. I don't even know if the Board of Selectmen, I may not have thought to say something, but ever since I've been in, I did institute a policy that anybody who drives town vehicles, I sign off on the form, and we have a direct link to DMV in Weathersfield, and we send in the forms with the person's license and all, and we get a background check as to their driving history. And so I will request that for anybody driving the vans. Will
Absolutely.
need copies of their licenses
got it.
for the background check for that. We found that to be very important, and it's been helpful in a couple instances, just so you all know that. Okay, then, so this is one bid for 2 different services, actually. One is going to one company for busing, and one is going to a second company for
Van
the
rental.
3 vans. Whoever makes the motion, please state who each thing is and the dollar amount. Do we have a motion on this? Roy?
Make a motion, you want them separate?
Just name them and dollar amount so that when Ann writes it,
I'd make a bylaw says the
Yellow.
carrier for the day camp transportation at a cost of $16,731, and then Choice Auto Rental of New Haven for the van transportation rental at $7,394.15.
Do we have a second? Second. Okenquist and Nastri again. Ann, your call. Flip a coin. Any more discussion? Yes, sir.
Don,
Yes, Rob.
I know this is a sensitive question, but do we do random drug testing of our van drivers?
Not at this time. Not at this time.
You might not be able to because of an age thing and all. I would have to talk to Mr. McGinnis about that off camera.
I would like that looked into.
Well, that's why we do the background checks of all drivers.
I'm not concerned so much with the bus drivers because I'm sure
They're not our employees.
Right.
Okay.
So.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. Terrific. Okay. Huh?
Just to interject for a second.
Yes.
Any of the bus drivers that have a CDL with a school bus permit that are subject to random drug training, yeah.
We're on an on-call.
I'm not concerned with
I retained mine. I was called about 2 weeks ago, even though, yeah,
just in case.
yeah, just in case. Okay. Number 6 is Mr. McGinnis again. This is consider and act on printing bids for program brochures. Now, is this that booklet that you put out,
Yeah,
Don?
it's our quarterly program brochures that we feel we've made great strides in the past few years as to the quality of the printing program. And at this time, we put it out 4 times a year. And it'll either be a 16-pager or a 20-pager. That's why you see the difference in the two per charges there of $25.80 or $3,090 in the case of the lowest bidder here, which is
And
Graphic
you only got
Image.
2 bids?
We got 2 bids on this one. These days, that's, I guess, a good thing. I don't. Oh, and by the way, I sent it out to at least 4 different companies, in
Okay.
addition to this, companies that in the past have expressed an interest. So, we attempted to get more.
Okay, so you recommend that Graphic Image be awarded this.
I
Now, do you want to add the 10 and 12 together, or are we doing one or the other here?
I think the way that I would suggest it be worded would be for a total not to exceed maybe $12,360. That way it covers us if we have the 16
Up
pages.
to the 20 page?
That makes sense.
So moved.
Okay. And that would be the Graphic Image for a not to exceed amount of $12,360. Okay, motion by Selectman Goldblatt. Is there a second? Come on, boys.
I'll second it. I just.
We can ask Selectman by Brown.
That 12,360 does refer to the 20-page.
To the 20-page.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the up to, yes.
If it helps, let me restate the motion then, if it helps.
Go ahead.
That the award be given to Graphic Image in Milford, Connecticut for $25.80 per book if it's a 16-page book, $3,090 each if it's a 20-page book, with a not to exceed being $12,360 for the year. Understand that would be if it was 4 20-page books.
Very good.
If I could make one suggestion.
Yes, sure.
And that I would put in there 4, it is for a total of 4 program.
For 4, yeah, it's a quarterly, okay, for 4 different brochures.
Okay.
That's what, by putting in the each amount, Don, I think that helps cover it, whether it's a 16 or 20. And
Very good, thank you.
there.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
Question.
Yes, Ralph.
Don, the quantity of 6,000, that's for the total for the year, or is that 6,000?
The quantity of what? I'm sorry?
For each of the 4, on your specs on page 2,
Okay.
you've got a quantity of 6,000 they were going to bid on. Is that 6,000, it's 1,500 each quarter, or
That's
is
the
it 6,000 each quarter?
That's the total each quarter.
24,000.
6,000 brochures each quarter.
24,000, so So what they're bidding on is basically about 50 cents a copy.
I didn't break it down, but it could be.
And that includes mailing and design
this
work?
does not include mailing.
No, that's just printing them.
No.
We mail 'em.
Does not include the mailing.
It says the work involved is printing and mailing of recreation guide.
These specifications, okay, that's a very good question. These specifications are what was included in the bid award. When they came back, and as we approved both companies, it does not, these prices do not include the mailing. The mailing is a standard charge, but that would be additional. But they are required to make the mailings, send out the mailings.
So the mailing is extra.
Yes, that's,
Do they do that, or do we?
They deliver it there, but we pay for it.
that's correct.
We send it out?
No, they,
Exactly.
yeah,
They do the mailing, they're
direct.
sending out, but we do,
Okay.
we pay for it.
So they're going to prepare the brochures with the information you provide them, the photos and the thing.
Exactly.
But they're going to do the design work.
They do the design with some of the pictures that we give to them as far as the cover and the placement of some of the interior photographs
Right,
and graphics.
okay. I just thought that was fairly cheap.
It's a good price. I'm
50 cents.
I'm pleased with it. We
for
saved
that-
a little money this
For
time.
that brochure.
Yep.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Yes, Selectman Astry.
We've done business with this company in the past, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Is this the company we use for the town booklet?
I'm not sure. That's not my department. I don't know.
No, I think the booklet went to
I don't think it was.
Ellington Bindery, I think is the name of it.
Something like that.
Did go to Ellington, I don't know if we did this year as well.
I'm pretty sure it did. They
I
gave,
thought they did 1 year. They did.
there was, no, there was another company from Milford that I think we used that they had some problems with. It wasn't this one.
Wasn't this company?
No.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not this one.
Well, that just brings
Yes,
up a
Mitch.
quick question, if I may. Who is the present supplier of this?
I'm sorry?
Who is the?
Who printed it
who
last
printed-
They did it last year as well.
Oh, it is Graphic
In
Image.
fact, Graphic Image is known as a, they have a number of contracts around the state for park and recreation brochures, and that makes us feel good about it, too.
Okay. Any more? Hearing none? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.